Tonight, heavy wildfire smoke puts millions of Canadians at risk.
It is a bit harder to breathe.
A dangerous haze that stretches far from the flames, from hospitals to schools, the urgent warnings to stay inside. Thousands of Ukrainians flee a deluge of water after the destruction of a major dam that has both Moscow and Kyiv pointing fingers. And Prince Harry makes history in court, but can he make his case against the tabloids?
He's a man on a mission.
This is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Much of Canada is facing a growing threat tonight, fueled by all those wildfires that have been burning out of control. Heavy smoke turning the skies a hazy red for millions of Canadians. Parts of Ontario choked by some of the worst air quality on the planet today. Several major cities that have so far avoided a direct blow from the fires are now feeling the effects. And that smoke is widespread from British Columbia in the west right through to the Maritimes. Every province is dealing with some degree of smoke or smog. But tonight, the epicenter is right around the nation's capital. Alison Northcott begins in Ottawa, where the conditions are extreme and the risk to everyone is real.
Wildfire smoke blankets Ottawa. The air quality so bad on a scale of 1 to 10, it was off the charts. This hospital had to close its operating room because its air intake system couldn't keep the smoke out. Catherine Call's surgery was cancelled at the last minute.
Obviously, I'm gutted, but you know, I absolutely understand what happened. This is a force majeure. There's nothing anybody can do about this.
With so many fires burning, smoke is stretching far beyond those flames. In some places like Kingston, the air quality index also reached the highest risk level.
Just because you're not living close to the forest fire doesn't mean you're not necessarily impacted, because these pollutants travel a long way, and in some cases they can actually increase in their toxicity as they age and travel.
Public health officials are warning people stay indoors, close the windows, and avoid strenuous outdoor activities.
Usually we'll come outside and she can stay outside for as long as she wants, but today they told us to go outside, if we did, to wear a mask and for not a long period of time.
I work outside all day, so like my eyes get irritated and like it is a bit harder to breathe.
The smog was also heavy in and around Montreal.
I have respiratory problems, health problems, and kind of really sensitive to the air quality.
Schoolyards in Laval were empty because public health advised to keep students inside.
We wanted to get the kids away from the exposure of the small particles.
Students at this school played inside because their outdoor activities were canceled.
The concern was that somebody might actually get ill from the smog, because we could smell it in the building, we could smell it in the area.
When the air quality is as bad as it is now in some areas, it's dangerous not only for people who are vulnerable, but for everyone. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
So now let's bring in senior meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff. So Joe, this smoke is expected to last days. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, unfortunately, Adrian, the forecast shows that smoke getting worse before it gets better for thousands of Canadians. I want to show you the big picture. You saw the smoke forecast. The weather pattern is a stationary low, basically just spinning over the Maritimes, and that counterclockwise flow is funneling that smoke down from the intense fires in northern Quebec right across southern Quebec, southern Ontario, and eventually through to the eastern U.S. seaboard hubs. Tomorrow morning, looking to get worse for air quality, and unfortunately Thursday morning, with this persistent air pattern in place, a slight shift with winds coming from more of a northerly direction, and Thursday morning looking to be the worst day for air quality for the Greater Toronto area. Adrian, it might be one of the worst days we've ever recorded for air quality, and ashfall across the Greater Toronto area not out of the question Thursday before we see things improve next Monday, so a ways to go.
Ashfall. Is this effectively what we're going to see throughout this season?
I think we're going to be at the whim of the winds for the season ahead. We know we have a hot, dry forecast for the next few months. It's unusual to see such an early and intense start for so much of the country. And I come back to what wildfire forecasters have said in seasons past. With our warming climate, there is no smoke in the future. It's just when and how are we going to get it?
All right, Johanna Wagstaff in Vancouver, thank you.
You're welcome.
Look at that, a similar sight in New York City. That is smoke from those fires in eastern Canada that is drifting south, cloaking major cities like Buffalo all the way to Boston. Tens of millions of Americans are under air quality alerts tonight. And a massive wildfire in southwestern Nova Scotia continues to burn out of control tonight. Officials now say dozens of homes have been destroyed there. That is on top of the 150 homes destroyed by another fire near Halifax. Kayla Hounsell spoke with people vowing to rebuild despite a difficult road ahead.
Inside the hardest hit area, there are charred remains, surprising revelations of what survived when so much did not, and poignant reminders that people lived here.
It's hard to see, it's hard to accept.
The Tereteskis fled their home near Halifax with their toddler more than a week ago. They now know there's nothing left.
And that moment of realization, it was shocking, to be honest.
They're determined to rebuild, but they know it will be a challenge, especially in a region still reeling from post-tropical storm Fiona just over 8 months ago.
It just means that there's an awful lot of claims in this region that we need to get to.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says fire is more straightforward than Fiona when it comes to what's covered, but it presents its own challenges.
The cleanup of the property needs to happen. A structural engineer needs to assess the foundation. Is the foundation strong enough, sturdy enough, substantial enough to rebuild on?
She says it could be up to 2 years before some homes are rebuilt. And now there's an extra challenge, finding people to build them.
There's no denying the fact, look, we're under pressure, labor shortages and such.
The CEO of the Construction Association of Nova Scotia says his own home has also been damaged.
There's going to be a need for temporary housing, modular housing, all kinds of things like that.
We'll try to do our best to start right away.
The Tereteskis are trying to secure contractors to work on their entire neighborhood.
And so we will just do like the project management, so everybody will do like in batches, and that's how we will make it faster.
They have this Airbnb for now, but they have to be out on Saturday, and in an already tight rental market with 150 others in the same situation, they have no idea where they'll go next. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
And there's more trouble for some Nova Scotians. At least 100,000 of them are learning their sensitive personal information has been stolen.
The type of data that was stolen is social insurance numbers, addresses, and banking information.
Those impacted are all current and former provincial government employees. The province says it was notified a third-party software was hacked on Thursday. Officials say they're still investigating and the number of those affected could change. Well, David Johnston was grilled by MPs for hours as he testified before House of Commons Committee over his investigation into foreign election interference. But as Rafi Boudjikanian shows us, it was his credibility that was most under attack.
For hours, David Johnston faced MPs demanding his resignation.
Do you not see how recommending against a public inquiry undermines confidence in our democratic institutions?
What we have recommended and what we intend to do in the next 5 months is to have public hearings.
He's been tasked by the Prime Minister to investigate allegations of foreign interference. Last month, he recommended against a public inquiry. The opposition insists one is necessary and that Johnston is unfit for the job because of his connections to Trudeau. Johnston denies that, and so do the Liberals.
The Conservatives just had a total of 15 minutes worth of questions, and they didn't ask a single question about foreign interference.
Beyond questions of credibility, Johnston was also pressed on the information he used to write his report, including an apparent contradiction highlighted by the NDP with what the former Conservative leader said in the House last week about being targeted by China.
We've got two very different conclusions from a CSIS briefing that Mr. O'Toole is referring to, and then you're stating in your report that there was no clear evidence that it was state-sponsored.
The evidence that we had before us that permitted us to come to the conclusion you've suggested was what was available to us at that time.
Johnston also faced questions in an exclusive interview with Power and Politics about why he did not reach out to former Liberal MP Han Dong before his report. It cleared him of an allegation in a Global News report that Dong had tried to urge the Chinese government not to free Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor in 2021. Dong denies the claim and is suing Global.
I mean, it feels like he's an important voice to hear from.
Well, we felt that we got both the open intelligence and the classified intelligence that permitted us to come to the conclusion.
While debate rages, Johnston says he intends to start public hearings next month, speaking to intelligence officials and diaspora communities. Rafi Bujikani on CBC News, Ottawa.
David Cochrane is the host of Power and Politics. So, David, if we pull back, look at the big picture here, was there actually any real movement on the critical issue of a public inquiry?
No, it was very clear there was no room for changing minds in that committee room. It all just began with these prosecutorial monologues from the Conservatives and to a lesser degree, the NDP and the Bloc. Then with these defensive interjections from the Liberals when it was their turn to speak, even pointing out that for huge stretches of time, the Conservatives didn't ask a single question about foreign interference and just focused on David Johnston's integrity. And Adrian, that's essentially what we saw today. Each side trying to score political points against the other, and David Johnston's credibility was the vehicle for those attacks.
So you then spoke with David Johnston right after his testimony. What did you take away from that conversation?
He's not going anywhere. I asked him flat out if he regretted saying yes to the Prime Minister to do this job, and he paused for a minute and then spoke of the importance of public service. And he intends to see this through to the bitter end and believes his work and recommendations will ultimately carry the day. But the question is, will politicians take his work seriously enough so that Canadians can get some serious action on what is a serious issue?
All right, David Cochrane in Ottawa, thank you.
Thank you.
Thousands are fleeing their homes in Ukraine after a new and sudden catastrophe. This is, or rather it was, the Kakhovka Dam. Its destruction a potential war crime. That dam was holding back a vast reservoir on the Dnipro River in Ukraine's south. Now everything downriver is flooding. The lives of more than 20,000 people are in danger. Satellite images show the before and after of towns, villages, fields, and industrial areas submerged or scoured away by the torrent. And the draining of the reservoir could also affect the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which relies on water for coolant. It's not clear who did this. Each side blames the other. But as Briar Stewart shows us, for civilians, there's no debate over the consequences.
A new disaster in the middle of a war zone. Ukrainian crews are rescuing those stranded by rising waters. At times, they say, under shelling by Russian forces. Russian beasts, what can you say, says this woman. Ukraine accuses Russia of blowing up a section of the Nova Kakhovka Dam and hydroelectric plant to make it harder for Ukraine's military to push further south.
The vast majority of people have been evacuated. About 13 villages are now almost entirely underwater. There are shortages with drinking water.
Satellite pictures show that in recent days, the condition of the dam had deteriorated, but the deluge of water didn't come until this morning. On the south side of the river, Russian-occupied villages are waterlogged, and presumably so are some of Russia's military positions. The Kyiv regime committed an act of sabotage, claimed Russia's defense minister, who blamed Ukraine. The burst dam sparked new fears about the Zaporizhzhia power plant, which lies upstream. But energy officials say there's no immediate danger for now. Western leaders say it's clear who's ultimately to blame.
This is yet another example of the horrific consequences of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine.
And what do you think of Russia saying that it's Ukraine that blew up this dam?
Oh, it's a joke.
Steve Naron is a Canadian living in Kherson. He had packed his car last night and planned to leave the area this morning, but he changed his plans because Russia stepped up attacks.
Early this morning, maybe 7 or 8, they started shelling and shelling and shelling.
Ukrainian officials say it will take a week before all of the water empties into the Black Sea, but it will take much longer to determine the true impact from what Ukraine's president calls an environmental bomb of destruction. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
There are signs tonight that the protests against pension reform in France, the protests that have sometimes been violent, might be slowing down. The rage remains. Workers are still angry about a hike in the retirement age from 62 to 64, and there are still crowds. One union claiming 900,000 people took to the streets there today. That number sounds huge, but it is the lowest turnout since protests began back in January. And royal watchers are buzzing tonight after a rare sight in London. A senior royal in court testifying. That hasn't happened in more than a century. As Margaret Evans shows us now, he spent hours taking aim at the tabloids.
Your left, your left.
The Prince and the press.
How are you feeling, Prince Harry?
Harry, Duke of Sussex, arriving at London's High Court in the eye of a media storm that has dogged him for most of his life. He and dozens of other high-profile claimants are suing the Mirror group of tabloid newspapers, accusing them of gathering information illegally between 1991 and 2011, hacking voicemail, hiring private investigators. Harry has long campaigned against the intrusions of a tabloid press he blames for the death of his mother, Princess Diana. PR experts have warned there are risks for Harry in cross-examination.
And he's going to be cross-examined by a barrister with a raft of techniques that are designed purely to undermine him, Prince Harry.
Harry's suit is based on 33 newspaper articles he says contain details that could only have been gleaned illegally, all the way back to when he was just a schoolboy. In a written statement released before he took the stand, he accused the tabloids of painting him as a cheat and underage drinker, of seeking to break up his relationships by putting as much strain on them as humanly possible. And he said Britain was being judged by the state of a press and a government at rock bottom. But he'll have to do more than cite the impact of press intrusion on his life. He'll have to prove journalists actually employed the means he accuses them of, and that their bosses knew about it. Aside from one instance, the Mirror Group insists its information came from legitimate sources. Harry spent 5 hours on the witness stand.
Very few people, actually relish a day in court, but I think to a degree he is relishing this. This is going to give some real meaning to his life, to his backstory, his history, his mother's tragic death. He's a man on a mission.
You're right, you're right.
That mission continues tomorrow, when Harry is expected to appear for a second day of questioning. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
You may have heard about a new book out tonight called Page Boy. It's a memoir from Nova Scotia's own Elliot Page, the Oscar-nominated actor from Juno, Inception, and Umbrella Academy. Well, I got a chance to sit down with him for his very first Canadian interview since transitioning in December of 2020.
It's been a little bit of time. Are you still having these sort of discoveries that make you happy,
Absolutely. I mean, every day when I wake up in the morning or stretch my body and go for a walk. It's hard to know how to describe it, but when you've spent so much time thinking you could never feel a certain way, a level of discomfort that I could never shake, and didn't understand why, especially with how fortunate I am, the privilege that I have, and to finally be in a place where I wake up and I feel in my body and I'm present and don't have the sensation of wanting to flee or lift out of myself or cause myself pain. It's been extraordinary. I didn't think I'd ever feel this way in my life.
Our exclusive conversation about all the complexities of being a famous trans man in this era. The beer thrown at his head in Toronto not that long ago. What kind of actor he is now, and what's next. That's tomorrow on The National. A major convenience store chain is trying something new to attract more customers into stores and keep them there.
Possibly the silliest idea I've heard today.
Oh, that's so. I have no idea why they would do that.
So how will your favorite alcoholic drinks go down in a 7-Eleven? Next. As the RCMP turns 150 some questions about its future.
The question is, can an organization do everything? Can they do federal policing, national security?
Calls for a rethink of Canada's national police force. And a little later.
All of a sudden it caught the corner of my eye and there's no mistaking it. That's a big shark.
A terrifying but beautiful underwater encounter caught on camera. We're back in 2. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. has settled a lawsuit over a rape allegation. An unnamed woman says Gooding raped her more than a decade ago in a New York City hotel, an allegation he denies. Terms of the settlement have not been made public. Dozens of other women have accused Gooding of groping and unwanted touching. There will be a lot of anxious eyes on the Bank of Canada Wednesday morning. That is when it is expected to reveal whether it's going to deliver another interest rate hike. Nisha Patel shows us how some Canadians are already bracing.
Stephen Lawrence's mortgage was up for renewal, and he was faced with some tough questions.
I looked at, what if I had to pay 5% interest? What if I had to pay 6% interest?
Anxious about even higher rates, he went fixed.
I'm glad that I'm locked in. I mean, obviously I'd love to have under 3%, who wouldn't? But, this is the reality.
Their new rate means he and his husband are paying $850 more every month for their condo. For now, they're making it work.
I'd prefer $850 to be going to vacations or, going to stuff for my baby.
But anyone with a mortgage that's up for renewal or coping with variable payments may need to brace themselves as speculation grows that the Bank of Canada could restart interest rate hikes.
The pause that they signaled after January was really to wait and see if they had raised rates enough. So this was a very conditional pause.
According to this economist, Canada's economy hasn't slowed enough, and the central bank will need to act.
You're risking high inflation just becoming more embedded. You're risking inflation expectations going up, and then you're risking not ever getting back to 2%.
While higher interest rates have only hit about a third of mortgage holders so far, by 2026, nearly all homeowners will be paying more for their mortgage.
They will be startled and shocked to see a massive change in payment, a massive difference in what they're spending. The 5-year rate has increased a full 0.5%.
Many Canadians may need to reset their expectations, with some experts predicting the days of record low interest rates are long gone.
A rate that starts with a 4 will become the new normal for people. And it will be really hard for Canadians to afford houses in the major cities with these kind of rates.
Well, Nisha, it certainly seems like the markets are backing up what your economist is saying.
Well, investors are betting that there's a 50-50 chance that we will see interest rates go up tomorrow. Those odds have been increasing over the past few weeks based on the data we've seen. The job market is still hot. The housing market is picking up again. The latest inflation numbers actually ticked higher, and that's not what the Bank of Canada wants to see. So even if we don't see a rate hike tomorrow, many market watchers will be looking for some kind of signal that the central bank is going to take action at its next meeting in July.
50-50 chances, eh? Doesn't look good. All right, Nisha Patel, thank you.
You're welcome.
In Ontario, customers will soon be able to buy beer or wine at some corner stores. More than 50 7-Eleven stores now have liquor licenses. The catch? You cannot take the booze home with you. Mike Crawley explains why.
Pop into this 7-Eleven in Niagara Falls, head toward the back of the store, and you'll find fridges full of beer and wine. Something you won't see in nearly any of the thousands of other convenience stores in Ontario.
It's the first step in demonstrating to citizens and people in Ontario that the world won't end because, finally a convenience store with hot food is actually offering you a cold beverage if you want to sit in the store.
7-Eleven obtained a restaurant liquor license for this location. The beer and wine has to be consumed in store. In downtown Toronto, it's hard to find anyone who's all that keen.
Possibly the silliest idea I've heard today or for the week.
Oh, that's so. I have no idea why they would do that.
I can't see anybody wanting to be in the store to drink.
2 Ontario 7-Elevens now serve beer and wine. More than 50 other locations have also received the green light. That's nearly every 7-Eleven in the province.
We shouldn't be expanding alcohol use until there are better programs to support people.
This Toronto City Councillor opposed a license for a 7-Eleven in his ward.
Ontario's liquor laws are designed to protect the rights of a business owner who wants to sell alcohol. They are not designed in any way to manage alcohol use in a way where we're reducing the harms.
Doug Ford campaigned to become premier on a promise to allow convenience stores to sell beer and wine. 5 years later, still hasn't happened.
We're going to fulfill that promise. We've expanded it tremendously since we've been in office.
In Alberta, some 7-Elevens started selling beer and wine late last year, and in Manitoba, a Winnipeg store is seeking a dining room liquor license. For now, at Ontario 7-Elevens, if you want a beverage, you'll have to get a staff person to unlock the fridge. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
The RCMP is marking its 150th anniversary, but there are growing questions about what its role in this country should be going forward.
The culture hasn't changed, the structure, of course, hasn't changed. It seems to have no sense of urgency at the political level.
Coming up, why some say the Mounties need to evolve to stay relevant. They're essential for the food that goes on our tables, but how are migrant farm workers actually treated?
I'm suffering, but I am earning. You know, he's abusive, but I can pay the bill, weighing the pros and cons every day.
Ellen Morrow speaks with seasonal workers pushing for change. The National takes you deeper into the story shaping our world. Next. Well, RCMP officers could look a little different over the next 6 months. They will be testing out these new shirts, part of a bigger project to modernize the force's uniforms. So that's one change, but there are calls for many more to be made to Canada's largest police force. The RCMP turned 150 in May, but after a series of scandals and mistakes, some communities are looking to replace it. Catherine Tunney takes us to one of those communities, Surrey, BC, as debate grows over the RCMP's future.
This is the fleet for Canada's newest police force, decked out and ready to go. But when a 911 call comes in, these cars can't respond.
So we're in this dilemma. Somebody's got to be in charge. One police of jurisdiction, and that's the RCMP. So they are in charge, and we work for them, if you will.
It's Chief Norm Lipinski's job to sell the Surrey Police Service, to replace the Mounties.
We will never win everybody over, but I do believe that we bring some goodness to this city, and we won't let this city down.
Letting people down is exactly what the Mounties did in Portapique, Nova Scotia in 2020. Systemic failures, poor communications, and a lack of local knowledge played a role in the country's worst mass shooting. This year, an inquiry exposed the challenges of a police force spread too thin, a single organization responsible for everything, from traffic to terrorism. It's why Lipinski believes Surrey deserves a police force just for Surrey.
I do believe it's time to have a second look. Can they do federal policing, national security, and then do boots on the ground policing?
Should the Mounties police both urban cities and rural towns? Could they focus solely on federal crimes, like the FBI? They're questions for the top Mountie in BC.
I think those discussions are healthy. I think we as an organization need to learn from and evolve as a result of those discussions to make ourselves better.
Dwayne McDonald argues the RCMP's model is what makes it so valuable.
The knowledge, skills, and expertise that we are able to bring to any one public safety issue, whether small in a rural area or internationally, I think that's something that we shouldn't shy away from, but that we should celebrate.
Surrey isn't the only place questioning the value of the RCMP. The force has been plagued by a sexual assault scandal, called out for systemic racism, and most recently, the mass shooting in Nova Scotia exposed fundamental flaws with the RCMP. It has some observers wondering if the force is even capable of change. So maybe tell me a bit about the woman in this photo.
Well, that is me.
Karen Adams knows what it's like to push for change from inside the force. She was one of the first women ever to wear an RCMP uniform in 1974.
But still we had shoes that looked like a granny and had heels on them. Not really functional at all, but some gals have stories about chasing people and falling.
Fighting to be on the same footing as the men.
I looked in the mirror, put my Stetson on, and literally cried, and saying it took 16 years for me to be deemed an equal. Oh yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Sexually assaulted by a superior, she was taught to bury it.
He was a corporal, and we learned in training that corporals were like mini gods. You just did what they told you to do, and you didn't question it, and you got on with your day.
Adams believes reform is necessary to fix the toxic culture.
I think the organization has become too large, too cumbersome to deal with all the situations it's dealing with.
Change management was Eli Sopo's job at the RCMP, but he saw little willingness for it.
The culture hasn't changed. The structure, of course, hasn't changed. The systems haven't changed. When you talk about change, we talk about a sense of urgency and a sense of purpose. Well, it seems to have no sense of urgency at the political level.
He says the stakes are too high to ignore this conversation.
I guarantee you, you will have another major disaster, severe injuries, death, and complete chaos because of poor communications, poor issues management, poor leadership and structures.
Those shoes and the clutch purse,
Yeah,
let's be honest, not
people
functional.
Clearly felt different at the time. The force says it's owning up to its faults, and not just with the uniforms.
We're more than willing to change, and I think we're really well positioned to succeed in the future and continuing to serve the country.
How is now a question for cities, provinces, and the federal government, possibly changing the iconic Canadian symbol forever.
So, Catherine, given all that, what does the federal government have to say about the future of contract policing?
Well, after the Nova Scotia shooting, the Mass Casualty Commission recommended the federal government launch an in-depth, external, and independent review of the RCMP as a whole, including its role in communities. The public safety minister says he is open to that, but hasn't formally committed. In an interview with CBC News, he says conversations are happening with provinces, territories, and municipalities about their contracts with the RCMP, and said Ottawa will support them on whatever path they choose.
Okay, but there are other communities out there that have some pretty big concerns.
The RCMP has a fraught relationship with many Indigenous peoples and has been accused of systemic racism and for aggressively policing people of color. Some Indigenous communities are pushing Ottawa for funding to start their own police forces. The federal government has promised to introduce legislation that would declare First Nations and Inuit policing an essential service. Adrienne?
All right, thank you. That's Catherine Tunney in Ottawa. So much of that fresh produce we take for granted comes from their labor. But how are seasonal workers treated in this country?
I see no problem with, the situation here that farm workers are facing. For me, that's just rubbish.
Between Jamaica and farms here in Canada, Ellen Morrow looks into allegations of exploitation. That's coming up next. Migrant farm workers are essential to Canada's food supply, but how are they treated when they're here? Jamaican workers spoke out last year condemning conditions they described as systemic slavery. Well, that prompted the Jamaican government to send a team here to investigate. Its final report said workers overall are taken care of. But when Ellen Morrow recently traveled to Jamaica, she spoke with some workers who say that is far from the truth.
So this is you by Lake Ontario, Niagara on the lake?
Feeling like I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that way.
That's me, right here. I'm on top of the world, man.
O.J. Conway Bramwell's time working on an Ontario farm was bittersweet.
It's so beautiful, you know?
He made money his family desperately needed, but it came at a cost.
It felt like we're machines, you know? We're just there to work hard. Don't question anything, you know? Just keep on doing that.
Jamaica sends about 10,000 seasonal workers to Canadian farms every year, the program invaluable to both countries. Canada for the labor it provides, Jamaica for the money workers send back.
Everybody wants to get out and make some money and change their life.
OJ says his bunkhouse was infested with rats, tearing into packages of food. He also says he and others were verbally abused. The owner of the farm denies both accusations.
I'm suffering, but I am earning. You know, he's abusive, but I can pay the bill, weighing the pros and cons every day. So that it's a constant struggle for most of the guys.
OJ's anger spurred him to help write this open letter, likening Canada's seasonal agricultural workers program to systematic slavery. We are treated like mules and punished for not working fast enough, it says. The exploitation is at a seismic level. The letter triggered international headlines, prompting Jamaica to send a team to Canada to investigate. We went to see Helene Davis-White, a trade unionist who led the group at her office in Jamaica.
When I think of the term systematic slavery and what that conjures up, I did not see that.
Her team visited dozens of farms, surveying and meeting with hundreds of workers across Canada.
The majority of workers felt that they were being treated either from fair up to excellent.
Their final report, released in May, put that number at 87%, describing close, almost familial relations between some farmers and workers. But there were also some farms where showers did not offer complete privacy, and farms where the number of toilets and showers appeared inadequate.
That was not.
Helene says there were also complaints of verbal abuse bordering on racism.
Those sound like really horrible things for them to report, to say you were overall satisfied with what you saw.
You have the very bad and the very good in the program, but what we did find is that the very bad was not in the majority.
There have long been concerns about the treatment of migrant farm workers in Canada, especially during the pandemic. This video, allegedly showing a cramped bunkhouse in Windsor, was shared by advocacy group Justice for Migrant Workers in 2020. One room, 12 people, barely any privacy.
The report was nothing surprising. It was very positive.
Ken Forth, a lifelong farmer, says poor treatment is rare. For him, the Jamaican report feels like vindication.
Our farmers are good people, by gosh. They're really good people. And 98% of them or so are really good employers, and they really care for these workers.
Forth runs an organization that helps farmers join the migrant workers program.
There's a lot of people looking at this program and making sure it is right, and it is.
Do you feel like there are areas of improvement, though, that farmers could do?
I was always of the opinion that you should improve everything you do in your life, and I think this industry has done just that.
Advocates say there's so much more to do, but for workers, speaking out can be risky. They're tied to their employers. If a worker is fired, they have to leave Canada.
They see no problem with, the situation here that farm workers are facing. For me, that's just rubbish.
Robert Boucher worked in an Ontario greenhouse and doesn't trust the report's positive findings.
If you learn that one of your former co-workers were not brought back, and it was because he had spoken up, then you would want to take a back and be silent about what you are facing.
This is indentured work. You have no choices.
Syed Hassan is executive director of the Migrant Workers Alliance for Change. Remember the letter alleging systematic slavery? Hassan's organization published it. He says Ottawa needs to fix the power imbalance.
But what can actually be done to better this program then?
The federal government of Canada must ensure permanent resident status. The Canadian government sets immigration rules and labor rules. So at the end of the day, it's the Canadian government that is responsible.
A spokesperson for the agency that runs the program said it's working with other federal departments, provincial governments, and stakeholders, continuing to explore ways to protect temporary foreign workers.
The house was dirty.
Back in Jamaica, OJ says he's struggling to find a Canadian farm that will hire him. He fears it's because of his involvement with the letter, but he doesn't regret it.
The letter helped a lot of people, I can tell you.
And what he wants Canadians to know?
We are your neighbors. You know, whenever you go to the store, whenever you pick up a fresh, those lovely plums, those lovely strawberries, remember us, you know?
OJ told El Moro and the team that he's still without a contract. He's open to returning to Canada for the seasonal program, but only under better living conditions. Standardized housing is one of the many recommendations in that report. Well, two big rivals in the game of golf are joining forces. Coming up, strong reactions to the merger that caught many by surprise. Plus,
there's no mistaking it. That's a big shark.
well, speaking of surprises, coming up, 4 BC divers come face to face with a rare ocean predator in our moment.
Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking.
Well, there she is. That is Astrud Gilberto, right here on the CBC in 1966, when her rendition of The Girl from Ipanema was a worldwide sensation. The Brazilian singer's death at the age of 83 was confirmed today by a colleague on social media. She released at least 16 original albums over the course of her career and is credited with bringing bossa nova into the mainstream. Well, a big merger in the world of professional golf appears to have caught just about everyone by surprise tonight. The PGA is joining together with its bitter rival, LIV Golf. And as Thomas Daigle explains, this union is being met with some harsh criticism.
Yes. One after the other, pro golfers in Toronto for this week's Canadian Open all headed into a private meeting. Suddenly, they're being asked questions about their sport's new reality.
I'm not about to stop playing golf because the entity that I play for has joined forces with the Saudi government.
The PGA Tour and its European counterpart announced plans to merge with their rival, LIV Golf, the upstart Saudi-backed league that lured away stars with the promise of massive paychecks.
Players here just want the loyal players rewarded.
For months, big names blasted LIV, from Rory McIlroy,
I hate what it's doing to the game of golf,
to Tiger Woods, who accused rebel golfers of disrespect. The PGA Tour's commissioner always dismissed any talk of a merger until now.
Together, we can have a far greater impact on this game than we can working apart.
Families of 9/11 victims protested last year outside a LIV Golf tournament, calling Saudi Arabia complicit in the attacks at a government level. Kristen Breitweiser lost her husband on that day in 2001.
The deal that was announced, what message does that send to you?
It sends a message that Saudi money overcomes any kind of morals or murder.
The Saudi Public Investment Fund will partly bankroll the new joint league, leading to more allegations the regime is paying to mask its human rights record.
It wouldn't be allowed to happen if the players and the organization stood up and said, no, we will not tolerate this.
LIV's chief executive, Greg Norman, called this a great day in global golf, while Donald Trump, who hosts LIV events at his courses, said this is a big, beautiful, and glamorous deal. Players can't tell what's in store for them now, while fans wonder what it will all mean for the game. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, so these 4 friends were scuba diving off the coast of Vancouver Island, exploring a shipwreck, as you do, when they ran into this mighty beast and got the surprise of their lives. So it was a blunt-nosed 6-gill shark, a very rare sight for divers there. Luckily, they had their cameras rolling and got the whole thing on video. Their close encounter is our moment.
We went down to dive a wreck. All of a sudden, it caught the corner of my eye, and There's no mistaking it. That's a big shark. So then I go to signal to Garrett. I said, did you see that big shark? And all of a sudden, Danton saw it again.
It was a blunt-nosed, 6-gill shark. And as a videographer, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, 6-gill sharks are incredibly rare. The sightings of them are very infrequent. It's slowly swimming towards Mateo's lights. And just as it gets to the lights, it turns around, and then it's got me lined up dead center. It was a once-in-a-lifetime dive. It really was.
You can still kind of hear us through the regulators. No, we weren't getting eating. That's just our excitement. Just sheer joy of seeing something so tough to see.
6-gill on a shipwreck. Yeah.
It's something we'll never forget.
I know they say they were laughing. I would have been screaming because I look at that and I think, okay, that's a great white, and we are out of here. Apparently, part of the reason why it's so rare is that it normally swims so deep. We're talking 1,000, 1,500 feet that they certainly didn't expect to see it right there. That is a national for June the 6th. Thank you for being with us. Have a good night.